Nick, welcome to this Star Trek Online visual review video, and allow me to introduce you to the Gorkon Qo'noS 1 variant of the D7. Another one of the ships to be added to the line, specially designed for the leaders of the High Council, for the houses that serve the Empire in the most prestigious way. This is a more prestigious variant, a high class, so to speak, true warriors variant of the D7. She's not too over the top different. We don't want to do anything really flashy now, would we? But she is something to be looked at. So we will take a look at this D7 in this visual review. First of all in customization, then we'll take a look at the more finer detailing before we have a final look at the possible Vanity shield options you can apply to this ship. With this being said, shall we begin? With the gracious assistance of the Federation's Starbase 1, so to speak, we get to have a decent look at the ship's visual, well, customization visual, since at least at this location it's actually brighter, it's not in the dark the whole time like it would be at Deep Space Nine. Now, the things to be noted is you can modify the main hull, the forward hull, or the head of the ship, the neck, and the nacelles independently from each other. Unfortunately, you can't modify the pylons, but then I guess that's not really a big deal. You have varied differences, including the D7 standard, which for all those TOS fanboys, they are going to love seeing this, even if it is a little bit textureless. The D7 refit, the one that most people would actually be used to seeing. The Katinga, you know, what most people know as the D7. I do believe this was that way it was also seen in one of the motion picture films. Because, of course, why would it get refitted? The Romulan variant of the D7. Somehow I'm not too surprised. The Katinga's refit, which quite frankly, as much as I do like two elements of this ship, I'm not sure this is exactly what they would have gone for. The Corotinga, my personal favourite and STO design. And of course, we've all seen it so far up to now, the Qo'noS 1. Which is a D7 just with a lot more detailing added in. Or essentially it's a D7 refit with a lot more detail added in. Do you want to go with that one? I mean, according to this, it's actually a Katinga refit, but okay. Customization wise beyond that, we have multiple hull types. This allows for the Burrell bird of prey to be added, the fleet, Katinga Alpha, which I will be honest is a pretty nice look for the ship, Katinga Beta, my personal preference. It also gives a beaten feel to the ship. Also, I may be out of place saying this, but kind of a Star Wars rusty beaten feel. I know it's bad that I say that, but okay. Type 0, Qo'noS 1 of course, TRS-D7, which is a nice look, even if it turns to gold bronze. TRS-D7 refit. I'm going to skip all the way down these. I will show 3B, 3A, which is relatively nice, and number 3. Oh, well, that's the one that makes me feel Star Warsy. It's the way the whole texture looks. Upgrade. Upgrades, people. Upgrades. It's not exactly an upgrade. Veteran. vor'cha. Now, this one does look nice for the ship, I will say that. And, of course, the Rodaval. At least now they're calling it the Qo'noS 1 and not the Rodaval beta like they did the vor'cha. Hey! Oh, sorry. Did I point that out? I'm so sorry. You also have the options to adjust the fleet logos. But that depends on the ship that you have. Now, with these customization details looked at, let's actually take a look at the more refined details of the ship. Much like with the vor'cha, the legendary vor'cha, should I say, we're going to see the same thing with this ship. So it's more going to be a look at how have they modified the look of the ship rather than what's new. Let's get in with it. So, to get a better look at the details, we'll be using demo record at render scale 2 because why not? Also, I'm not going to zoom it in so you guys can see me using the demo record software, just so you can see it active, see what I'm doing a little bit better. Also, this way I don't really knock anything off or accidentally cut anything out. So let's get started. First thing to note on, I'm a little bit too close there. Hello. Ignoring that, check out the bridge dome. Now you're going to see this across this ship. It's generally what they did with the legendary vor'cha and the Qo'noS 1 vor'cha. They've done the same thing here, the Gorkon Qo'noS 1 D7. They've added this form of gold paneling and gold trim onto the ship. In this case right now, on top of the dome, you've got these two almost antenna fins, a nice circle with a spoked design to it heading to the main central dome, and sort of a half crown on the back. You will see this in other places as well, such as down here on the neck. I do believe that these vent patterns was always here, but they've just changed the coloration of them. There's a nice gridded shape around here, but more trim towards the back. More trim, it's all there. As we noticed on the vor'cha, you will notice here as well. More particularly if you look over to the opposite side at the moment, it's a bit more obvious that what they've done here with the pattern and the design. There's the circle disc, but you can see the full design of it now. What they have done is they've sort of created this texture, created these multiple shapes and plates that they can attach to the ship in various locations, and that's what they've done. They've just added it onto the surface of the ship. There is a minor gap between them, so we're looking almost all these plates. If I could get the position right, you'd be able to see that there is like a between 2 to 5 pixel gap between the actual surface of the ship and these new additional plates. Personally speaking, I'm glad they did that because it means that these plates always stand out. They never seem to get overrun or overshone by any of the other textures when they occasionally glitch out, as to be expected. Much like over here, we have a nice little shape in here. You can see it's actually bedded in, so some of this texturing of the surface of the ship is actually pulling off the ship, but luckily you can still see that they're there, and it doesn't feel like it's being overrun. And actually, the bit of the ship you can look through at the moment, you can actually see how they aren't parts of the ship's texture itself, because you can see clean through the ship at the moment. However, you can still see the texturing pattern that's at the back there, this same gold grid that's sitting on the back. In fact, if I move around to it now, we will take a look at that. Yoink, there we go. You can see it right there, right above the engine. And I'm glad about this. I'm happy to see this. Personally, because they didn't just come up with something to give it this ornate design, this more regal, more high class, if you could call it high class for a Klingon design. That is just part of a texture that could easily be lost or overshone by adding a Vanity shield on. These textures, so long as you're using a Qo'noS 1 component to the ship, these textures will always stand out. They will always be prevalent. I'm happy to see that. Now, other things to go on away from that, let's focus on the fact that, yes, the shape has not changed. It's probably one of the negatives I want to state right now, is that the shape has not changed. Unlike with the vor'cha, where they at least added more weapons on the front, this ship has literally... Cryptic's been a little bit lazy. Now, by all means, Cryptic, fine. You're giving us these legendary variants of the ship. They are essentially our tier 7, which we're never going to actually get a tier 7. They need to introduce a tier 7 because at the moment we're having issues with too many ships that's basically the same as another ship. That's the biggest issue here with this ship. It's visually too much the same. So now I'm going to have to try and pick out things that are stand out in the body, that stand out different, and that's the big issue here. Nothing really stands out too differently for this starship's design from a normal, typical D7. So let's talk about the D7 components themselves, that what they can mean, what they really feel for on this ship. And I mean, apart from going to the back here, you've seen this nice regal design, the sensor platform, and nice disc on top, and oh look, it's that collector. Now, normally speaking, that collector, in my opinion, is a bizarre collector, since most Klingon ships at the early period didn't really have bizarre collectors as such. The birds of prey, there is a bird of prey design, an old school bird of prey design, the vor'cha in this game, which has the collector on the back of the main body of the ship rather than the pylons, because the pylons have just cannons on them. You could say the same thing was going on here, and you got the nacelles up here, except for that's not correct because, oh, excuse me, here are the nacelles. These nacelles are massively improved because not only do they still have their line of sight that they always have, and I must give credit to the angle of them, because I do like the fact that they don't just hang down straight, but they are angled inwards, which gives them a bit more life to them. But the D7's Qo'noS 1 variant actually adds Basard collectors onto the front. These Basard collectors, if you may notice in customization, are not normally there. So I am very, very, very happy to see them there. And now that gives me an idea to let's raise a bigger debate. It's such a nice, I'm going to be honest, I have always liked the D7's nacelle design for the Klingons. I do think this is a very nice looking nacelle, and it's why I use it myself. But with the update, the reinforced armor, and the very nice Basard collector, let's not call that Basard collector, maybe we could call that deflector. Why am I saying this is deflector? Well, one, the positioning is fine to be the deflector. I mean, I know there's a bridge in the way of it, but okay, it could be the deflector back there. And considering the fact that this segment of the neck is designed to be exploded away from the D7 in case of separation being required, basically never happens with Klingons because who runs from a combat, but it can separate there if necessary, apparently. One thing that we have noted before with the D7 and many other Klingon ships is what looks like the deflector often is actually a torpedo launcher. and in the case of this ship, is a torpedo launcher. There are many times you see this launching torpedoes. The ornate design around it I like quite a lot, but noting that that is a torpedo launcher and quite sizable, you'd think, considering the way the ship looks, but actually the ship is quite small. It's nice to note that this torpedo launcher has had a lot of detailing added into it. Get nice and close so you can see it. They have thought about doing an internal texture pattern there, just in case you get close enough to see it. And the lighting and the glow, although it's very superficial when you're up close, when you're far away, that looks very eloquent. And considering this is normally the closest you could get to the ship, I think that's a nice looking design. Works really well as well, since if you consider going back round to the back, there is the rear torpedo launcher. Again, just one of them. Nicely placed, looking very good, and at the same time, as long as you don't get too close, quite fitting and looks quite good. In fact, the whole back of this ship, I love the very narrow, very slender profile to the ship. It gives it a very good combat feel, an aggressive feel in my opinion. The engines feel really powerful, the impulse engines look very powerful. I do like the fact that they have those weapon emitters on top. I do believe they're pulse disruptor emitters. In my personal thoughts, that's what they would be in my... I used the personal thoughts twice, I'm so sorry. But yes, above the torpedo launcher, I do believe those are disruptor pulse emitters. There are elements on the ship that maybe you could call, whoops, if we can get close to it, possible weapon points, like just here. But I'm inclined to think that it's more likely that there's a narrow area of rear firing arc, because this is a Klingon vessel. They don't show their backs to the enemy. And what we're actually looking at is, well, a ship that is designed for full frontal combat. You have the two launchers here, or sorry, beam emitters either side. I don't know what you'd call this on the front of the ship, but two emitters underneath, just above the deflector. The torpedo launcher. To me, it should be a deflector, but yeah, the torpedo launcher. Look on the back of the neck, you've got another two of these points. Nice, powerful emitters, ready to be seen. And then, if you look throughout different parts of the ship, it does look like there are some lighter emitters, like less powerful variant of beam emitters, but they are more towards the back of the ship. Again, what you'd expect with Klingons. More of the firepower at the front, less firepower sitting at the back. Now, unfortunately, as much as I would love to keep going on about this ship's design, I kind of get lost at this point, because they haven't changed too much. There are a few things I would point out, like, it is interesting that there is this observatory of some kind at the back of the bridge. Not entirely sure what that's for. There's interesting bracer points here, not entirely sure what those are doing. The other side of the ship does have a few nice beacons and designs. It looks like you have a small shuttle bay hatch ready to drop some ships out of if necessary. And the command module at the back, or the mission module, whatever you want to call it, it's got a nice design. It's interesting that it looks like it's got scoops on it. But beyond that, I get very lost in this ship. And I know it's not the ship's fault. It is really my problem not to be able to see more detailing, more things to talk about here. It would have been nice to see Cryptic do a little bit more with this ship, maybe on the rear half of the ship, add new weapon emplacements, like they added powerful heavy beam emitters to the vor'cha. Maybe they could have done the same with the rear of this ship. Instead of putting it on the head like they did on the vor'cha, put it on the back of the ship in this one's case. That would have at least made it different between the two ships as well, that the new weapon emplacements are in different zones. Forward firing, of course, but different zones. Or maybe they could have just, I don't know, given it a dreadnought feel. Again, they could have split the pylons and given it 4 nacelles. I'm just saying, these are options they could do to give a very new feel to a Klingon vessel that we may have had for a while. Or maybe they could have just done it where the nacelles themselves were amped up a little bit more. Bigger, bulkier, stronger. Weapon emplacements on the nacelles, because Klingons have done that in the past. Anything to really change the ship up beyond what we actually got. That is my disappointment with the ship. It's too original D7, not enough amped up D7. For a Qo'noS 1, the only people I see flying these will be the underlings of the main house. I would not see the main house giving essentially a more expensive looking but basically the same D7 to their higher family members. No, they're going to give them the ships that actually perform better. This is just the ship to make them look a bit more prestigious without actually being more prestigious. Disappointing, hey? Okay, Vanity shields. So, people, back into the main game. This is going to be interesting. Where do we begin? I'm also trying to spot it, make sure nothing's missing from here. Okay, clicky click. Alliance. What the? Okay, well, the Alliance definitely makes a different look for the ship, doesn't it? Okay, that's made it a deflector. Yeah, they made the torpedo tube a deflector. Why don't you know this, Critic? You know what they did with this ship and the... Yeah, mind you, they did make this mistake with other ships as well in the past, which was always quite funny. Especially when a Federation ship was firing from the deflector. That was, visual departments, people, visual departments. Next up, we have the Bayou. Okay. This is going to look good. I refuse to not have this look good. I mean, the torpedo tube looks really good right now. The gold trim, I think, is my favourite part of this ship at the moment, because that really stands out well in the black. Which is kind of funny for me to say, considering I'm not normally a fan of the colour gold. Definitely have a preference towards silver. Ooh, oh, that looks nice under the ship, doesn't it? You can really see a lot better where all the gold trim is. Really, really does look nice for the ship. Okay, next up we can get assimilated by the cooperative, the Bald Vanity Shield. Not quite as nice in my opinion. What? The texturing on the underside of this ship feels like there's lots of sharp, jagged edges pointing forwards. I'm not entirely sure that it was intentional, but no, then again, it's on top as well. Look at that, lots of triangular shapes. Like a dozen sharp triangles all pointing forwards. And I think I've just seen some odd hatches on there. I do like the veins that are there. Emperor's Vanity Shield. I just noticed which one is missing. Oh, can you guess what one I forgot? Yep, the Disco Vanity Shield. If I was on a Klingon character, this would look a little bit different. A little bit different indeed. Next up, Emperor's Vanity Shield. Why hello there. This one, I would say this one suits the ship a lot better. Definitely gives a more aggressive feel to the ship. Even the torpedo launchers feel more... The torpedo launchers that are 100% using deflector array patterns on them look a lot more aggressive. And I think this actually feels a bit better, a bit more alive than the Ba'ul did. Which is nice to note, because most people love the Ba'ul, and it's really nice to be able to say that something looks better than the Ba'ul. Feklari Vanity Shield. Now, this is almost fitting to work. Holy moly, bye! Yeah, this Vanity Shield does... It feels quite fitting. I do feel like it works on the ship. And if, to be honest, it should do, since Feklari is a design that should resonate somewhat well with Klingon designs, since they are hinted in Star Trek lore to be... well, the Feklari and the Klingons are hinted to be connected. Much like Romulans and Vulcans. Even if STO did decide to change that. Next up, we have the Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield. Yeah, anyone else want to think type... Ooh, what was it? Type 3? Yeah, type 3 without a letter. Was this look, wasn't it? To be honest, it does look pretty good. But I think the Type 3 coloration, with its different areas such as the impulse array, the torpedo launchers and deflector, just work a little bit better. Is that doesn't the cell have like a high voltage warning label on it? Yep. Look at that. That's got a bizarre collector design in it. I love it. Not. Well, washout wasn't too much of a washout in this one. Next up, we have the Medical Vanity Shield, which is actually kind of okay looking. I mean, I still stand by, I would be terrified if a Klingon vessel was the medical vessel sent to save my life. Because, yeah, more than certain I'll end up dead, but hey, it's a nice look, I'll give it that. Platinum. I'm not keen on that. Not even a little bit. I feel like the platinum and the black sheets don't work well together. And because they're all the pieces are highlighted by that white glow. Yeah, it's Especially on the neck, where it just becomes almost a ribbon of white glow. Not keen on that one bit. Next up, let's go section 31. Hey, hey, hey. Had a better looking effect than I was expecting. Very certain that that's supposed to be a Bazaar collector now on the back of the ship, since that's lost its glow. I love it. Yeah, okay. Deflector and torpedo launcher in the same place. Back of the ship is definitely a Bazaar collector, and for some reason they've still got the glowing elements on the actual places where Bazaar collectors would most likely be. Then again, Klingon starship design does not have to replicate Federation starship design. The Bazaar collectors do not have to be on the nacelles. That is a very clown way of thinking for me. Stop it, Ri'shad. Next up, Zenkethi Vanity shield. Well, that didn't turn out all that good, did it? Oh! You mind wiping him out down there? You're making a big noise. Come on, it's not that hard. Okay, maybe it is. Someone else came in to join and wiped it out before I did. God damn it, I hate noises when I'm doing this sort of thing. Right. Back to looking at this. Yeah, I'm just going to be honest. As much as the plates do look nice in some areas, I do like the blue texture on this ship. The black plating is ruining it for me. So that gets a pass. Zut bus Vanity shield. You'd expect somewhat to work here, since it's supposed to be a Romulan texture, and apparently Romulans have used this ship. But I'm not going to hold them to that. I'm not going to hold them to that, but maybe I should. Because this looks really nice. I would be happy with this look. That's uncomfortable, because I like the look of the ship a lot. Here we go. Aegis, if we were a Klingon character right now, these would be red. Or the blue glow strips would be red. Whoopee! I'm really not sure if there's anything I want to say on this one, other than at least the stripes aren't everywhere. Time for a simulation. A simulated regenerative shield array. Oh, this one's a little bit. Do you mind? Yeah, this one's a little bit more subtle than I was expecting. I was kind of expecting a lot more in the way of the green cybernetic texturing. I am moderately impressed. Let's just simulate fully to see what we get. So the deflector, they shrunk down. That was nice to see they shrunk that down. But oh, the impulse piece, they didn't shrink down, and because this ship is so small, it's just gigantic. I mean, I guess it kind of feels like it belongs there. The way it's surgically added to each component on the ship, it really does feel like it belongs in that place. And And you can see the rotating piece a lot better right now, but at the same time, damn! This is an outcome I wasn't expecting. The piece on the nacelle as well, it's it doesn't feel like it doesn't belong in the nacelle, because it is angled right, it's placed on there correctly. Maybe it's in a bit of an odd spot, but at least it looks like it belongs where it is. Could be reinforcing the flow of the warp field. Would have thought it'd be on both nacelles, but okay. Bajoran Kavarian time. Come on, Bajorans, have a nice look. Ooh! Hey, the warp grills look pretty good. Actually, it's not bad. Considering I normally don't like the Bajoran hull, this isn't that bad. I wish I could remember where you get the Bajoran hull from, but hey ho! Counter Command Covariant. I mean, way too many pinstripes or lit up pinstripes across the ship, but other than that, it's not that bad in my opinion. It's just all the lit up pinstripes kind of deduct away from the plates themselves, which are kind of spoiling it in my opinion. Delta Alliance Unimatrix. This one is either going to be good or bad. Starting off good. Started off really nice actually. I really like the upper say. Okay, then the warp coils aren't that bad. A little bit annoyed they are blacking out a bit too much of it, but not that bad. It actually, in the torpedo launcher as well, the blacked out area isn't causing too much damage because the way it's dispersed around the cylinder. The impulse engines though are still really, really bad. They need to do something about this texturing. That was actually a stylistic choice. The fact they intended to make it do this black to green so drastically as well, with no real change between the glowing green and the black plate. I question the artistic choice. Next up, Dyson Regenerative. Interesting to see the Qo'noS 1 hull plates that remained behind, because you got this sort of roughed beige, grey beige plate next to a sort of rough surfaced white plate. They work well together in an interesting way. Nothing is overly deducted from either, so yeah, I'm still relatively keen on it nonetheless. Next up, we go towards what is either going to be really bad or really good. Iconium Resistance. Or non-existent. Where is it? I can bet. Practically non-existent. I mean, there's the weird staggered white glowing trim to everything that looks really daft. That kind of makes it look bad in my opinion. So yeah, I'm gonna say this is a bad look for the ship, but The actual texturing that I normally complain about that makes it look bad, that is basically non-existent right now, is, yep, non-existent. Okay, Lucari. I'm getting really surprised on this shit, to be honest. And the Tron feel is gone into overkill. I hate it. Oh, wow, that's not a good look. Mako resistance. I mean, it's not bad, but again, it's not great. This poor D7 hasn't got a lot of good looking holes, if I'm honest. I feel like the D7 was that heavily rushed that it's just really cool. It's actually quite a good ship, so to catch the short straw so badly is kind of disappointing. Nakura, okay, the Folian shields, this has to be good. Come on, you can't be bad. Bad. It's the same problem at the front of the ship primarily. It's a massive black plate that just feels out of place to everything else in the front. Deflector is really glowing bright. I mean, seriously, if it was glowing anymore. Oh, and we have it at the back of the ship as well, which is making it worse. I normally love the Folian hull on just about any ship. Not this time, not this time. Competitive shields. Sorry for the Dyson Sphere effect. What is going on at the very front of the ship? No, this one is atrocious already. And the back. Wow, this is a bad look. Can't see anyone using competitive on this ship. Too many plates that just don't look right with it. Romulan prototype, advanced prototype. And here in the Dyson Sphere with a shadow effect that doesn't want to work properly, but yeah, sorry about that. Over the top pinstriping. This is kind of unnerving me because what I'm seeing so far makes me feel like we're going to have a huge, simply huge amount of a certain plate when we get to the final panty shield. Temple defense. It's just not getting much better, is it? I mean, at least the eggshells aren't everywhere, but eggshells, sandpaper, whatever you want to call that third texture. The primary texture and the oil texture, secondary texture, does look okay on the ship, but actually, looking at the oil textures make me think that might be where we're going to see the honeycomb pattern later. Terran Task Force. What on earth is going on with those random dots at the back there? Terran Task Force is normally a really nice one, but I mean, the front of the ship looks actually interesting. I'll give the front of the ship that. That's interesting. And the sails look pretty good. The whole plate itself is nice. Feels right with the ship. It's just the random bits of blue glow everywhere other than on the front of the ship just doesn't feel right to me. Oh boy. Dielectric oscillating. Considering what it's been like so far, if the trash can ends up being good, I'm going to be surprised. Green time. Also, yeah, dielectric oscillating. Also referred to as green shields. Also referred to by me as the trash can or trash bin shields, and I'm just being proven right. In my personal opinion. I hate these shields. It looks atrocious. Get it off the ship. Gem Hadar. For the Dominion. Come on. The purple at the front ruined it. It feels out of place again. It's too much purple in one single... It's like someone has thrown every single texture on the ship. It's like someone takes a paint balloon, smashes it over the front of the ship, and that's what happens. You get this huge section of the front of the ship that's just solid in one colour, and then the rest of it is darted. And I have never been a fan of that kind of aesthetic look. I mean, the metallic look does look pretty nice, and the purple is vibrant enough and lively enough for the ship, gives it some aggressive feel, but the head of the ship spoils it, which now leads us to the Marmite shields. As I always say, most people love it or they hate it. In most cases, people love it or they hate it with every ship. So they either hate it for every ship, love it for every ship, and then you have the odd one or two people like myself who love it on half the ships and hate it on half the ships, but there never seems to be the middle ground. Oh, it's okay. Let's see if we get an okay. Okay, so I was very fearful for the front of the ship. I thought the front was going to look bad. This shield has got it right, in my opinion. This one's got it right. This one looks good. I like it. I love it. Oh, no, okay. We get to finish on a high note. This looks really nice to me. I would be happy. Yes! The Romulan's got a ship looking good. Blah. Bit of a big black texture, but hey! One day, STO will fix null textures like that. But for now, I am very happy with the way this ship looks. Look, it with this shield on, so I'm happy. I can end it on that one. So with that being said, guys, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to all of you for watching to the very end of this video. And I would love to hear your thoughts on the ship's design and, well, what Cryptic has done with the design. Also, are you happy with flying the ship? It'd be nice to hear. So if you don't mind putting that in the comment section, I'll look forward to reading those. Also, can I just say a huge thank you to Negus, Dante Demonic, Night Runner 678, Skyhawkings, Tribal Typhoon, TravisGames, Dark Stars Order, Cross-Eyed Deplorable, Miss Future Teach, and Fox Plays Games. The people credited on screen right now for their donations, either as Patreons, Twitch subscribers, or just a single time donation, as their support have helped make this video possible, and I would not have been doing this ship without them. Also, you're helping my dream become a reality. If you wish to join them, the links are in the description along just below our social media links. And whichever way you choose, those donations do go towards supporting this channel, keeping it up and running, financing or supporting the financing of new equipment, and also supporting future reviews. If you have donated this time round, or if you do donate in the future, you will be shouted out in the next review I take part in. With that being said, Thank you guys, and until then, fight with honour. Kapla.